Hello everyone, I'm so excited you're here because we're talking about 50% of my favorite thing about crafting, and that is organizing stuff. I know, I think that's a hobby all in its own. And so today I'm going to go through some of my favorite tips and tricks on how to organize your craft space, keeping an open mind that I'm not specifically talking about any particular organizing product. There are some things that I'll share with you that are just my favorite and how I do it, but that isn't really the premise of this entire video. It's about the idea behind how you're organizing and how you can best pick the stuff that works for you and your style. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Before we get into the video, I want to share with you that if you like this type of video, if you like the videos on YouTube that talk about this particular topic of organizing, not so much the details of making a particular craft, there is a summit that is right up your alley and it's free. So I'll talk about that as we sort of go through some of these ideas, but I do want to right off the jump tell you that this summit is going to be 2 days long. I am one of the presenters for the summit, so I'm going to have my own video talking about a particular type of organizing for a specific product in your craft space, but there are so many speakers that are going to be on this summit. It is going to be phenomenal. So again, it's free. So we'll talk more about that as we go through. I don't want to jibber jabber about that all day long. Let's get into the first tip that I have for you to organize your space. Okay, my very first tip for you, none of you are going to like it, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. And that is, you gotta purge. You have to get rid of the stuff that is just collecting dust. And Mary, I'm talking to you. Yes, I'm talking to myself too, because I am famous for, I might use it one day, right? So no, we are going to purge today. We are going to get in there, get honest with ourselves, and we're going to start throwing stuff away or donating it or destashing it. You know, I've had a lot of destashes on my channel before where we talk about, or where we do fundraisers and we destash our items. So find another home for the things that you are not going to use. So let's take a look at some of the things that I can destash. Okay, let's get super honest with the one drawer I probably have the hardest time with, and that is my embossing paste drawer. It's huge, it's full. So we're actually going to just get honest with ourselves. I have 2 huge containers of the Cloud Whip, and this is embossing paste, and I'm not going to use more than this in the next 3 years. So I am going to keep those 2 because I can do different techniques with them. I can change the color, I can add glitter, whatnot. Do I need a light and fluffy modeling paste that's just the same? I don't. I don't. So I'm going to put that to the side. I don't think I need these with the, you know, those, actually I think they're almost empty anyway. So again, look at your stuff that's almost gone. And it's hard as a rock. There's probably a way to soften that, so let me know in the comments if you do have a tip, but that's got to go. I have 2 bottles of the glitter moonstone, but I'm keeping it because it's already glittered and it's beautiful and I do use that a lot. But looking through here, I have another Altenew paste, which is the same, pretty much the same as the Cloud Whip, right? Like minor differences. So I'm going to give this a good home somewhere else. So again, just go through your stuff, get honest, what you're going to use, what's the big bang for your buck, purge, because that is step number 1 when it comes to organizing your space. All right, tip number 2 is going to be to have your items easily reachable. So if you know you use your inks all the time in every project, my greatest tip for you is to keep it near you. I find that me going back and forth throughout the room is actually kind of kills my creative mojo. However, if you like to get up and move around, that's different. My recommendation for me and for people that like to just kind of have it at an arm's reach is to make your space around you suitable for that. So as you can see behind me, I have my ink pads set out easily to grab, and they're all labeled as well so I can see them right away. And then I love this system right here where I have these little containers. These are from IKEA, and they sit inside this metal piece right here. And that way I have my tools all right at my fingertips. But it goes one step further as well. As I sit down at my desk, I also have two side pieces that pull out, and they have my dies. So I can pull some of my, not all of them, but some of the most used ones. I can pull them out as I'm crafting. I also have a mini die cutting machine that I put on the top surface of my work surface, and I have my bigger one behind me, just so that, because I don't use it as much as I use the little one. So let me show you how these drawers pull out. This is something that my husband created for me. So right there underneath the desk, you can see the magnetic strips or the magnetic sheets there. So how they pull out is on that piece of track right there. You see it. That just has them sliding in and out. Let me show you. All right, so you can see them there pulled out, and that side right there is a lot of images and things I use quite a bit. And then when I'm done, I can just slide it right back in. So it's really, really versatile. He came up with it. I did not, but it's just another idea. I wanted to add a little bit more to the notion of having stuff at your fingertips. So right here, I have my most used supplies right in these side drawers. If you have this option, it's really, really helpful. I have my tape adhesive right here, easy to grab, things like that. Goes all the way down into paints, and then I have another side as well. So tip number 2 is to keep stuff at an arm's reach if you can. Tip number 3 is to have a home for everything. So keep things compartmentalized in their little home. Okay, so this is probably one of the biggest changes I made, and it has made a humongous difference. So let me give you an example. So right here I have my organizer, and I keep all of my Arteza water brush pens in these containers. They're categorized by a few different colors together, but then they're all kept in that area. So when I want to color, I can pull this out of the drawer, come over to my desk, keep them all in their same little house, and then put them back, right? It makes the cleanup process a lot easier. When everything has a place to go, you will likely put it back. Your chances at least increase. So definitely tip number 3 is to keep a home for as much as you possibly can, and then return it to its home when you are finished. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about this summit coming up for paper crafters who get organized, right? That's what we're going to be doing. The whole summit is about different areas of your craft space that are going to be taken on by one particular speaker, and they're going to show you how they organize it, also giving you tons of ideas on how it might work best for you. So I can't give away any secrets on which one I'm doing, but it's super fun. So I want to encourage you to sign up for this summit. It is from April 21st to April 23rd, and you'll have, if you sign up for the free ticket, you're going to have 24 hours to check out all of the goodness. So definitely reserve your free ticket. Even if you don't ever want to even consider getting the paid ticket. So let's talk about the paid ticket a little bit. So for that, that's going to be where there are tons and tons of bonuses that come along with it. So it's an opportunity for the speakers, for like myself and the thing that I did, to bring a little bit of extra stuff to you. And my topic for my video, it's going to be a completely separate class that I am giving away as part of the Ultra Bundle if you get the paid for ticket. But that class is going to be on technique journaling, where you're going to actually get the download. You're going to go through this whole class with me about it. And so it was so much fun to put on. I'm so excited about those of you that do opt to purchase your ticket and get this freebie with it. Oh, it's going to be a good time. But it's going to be a completely separate class off of YouTube and everything. So consider that. That's just me. So many of the other speakers are going to be giving away something pretty big, and the value of all of these things is really, really good, and definitely more than you're going to pay for a ticket. So consider that if this is something that you definitely want to dive into a little bit more for your craft space. All right, let's get back into why we're here. So tip 4 is very similar to the last tip we talked about. However, I just want to drive home the point a little bit more about keeping things that are like items together. So before, you had a home for everything, but maybe your home, just using that tip alone, kept paper and ink together in the same house. Well, my recommendation for tip number 4 is to actually have a special place for each and everything, like compartmentalize even further and put like items together. So in this bin alone, because I have so many different kinds of markers, glitter pens, things like that, I keep all of the darker markers here. So I have gold and black. They are all in this one. Versus in this one, I have all of the clear, the silver, the white. That's going to be separating them, and it makes it a lot easier to just toss it when I'm finished. So again, for this tip, I recommend that you put like items together. Keep all your cardstock together, keep your tape together, glue, etc. This way, it's just so much easier to find its place when it's time to clean up. Okay, this next tip is a little bit tricky in the mind, right? So I'm going to be recommending that you have a temporary filing system. What I mean by that is backgrounds that you've made or supplies that you've been meaning to keep using or start using. Keep a temporary file where if you don't use it in the next, and then fill in the blank with your time frame, then you destash it or you get rid of it. One of my viewers shared that she's going to start doing this, and I am on board. So I have this right here. Now this one is actually my giveaway bin that I keep. I know I'm not going to want to keep them, so I just put them in here. But I have a temporary bin on my desk, and that's where I want to try these products. I want to have fun with them. But come 6 months from now, if I have not made the time for it, I'm likely not going to make time for it, and it's time to let it go. And it'll move into this giveaway or this destash pile. So that's the tip or trick. Get real with yourself and figure out what you're going to want to keep, because if not, we just continue to bring more and more and more in, and it starts to clutter our minds, which keeps us from being creative. So I'm primarily a paper crafter, so my next tip comes in the way of organizing your paper crafts by pre-cutting your cardstock. I have been doing this for years, and it is seriously the only way I can make a card. I don't like all that extra boring stuff when it comes to card making, and so I like to do it all in bulk, maybe put a movie on and just cut till my heart's content, and then I have my stash ready to go. And I do this in a few different kinds of cardstock. So let me have you take a closer look. Okay, so in this drawer right here, I have my cardstock broken down and labeled per what it is. So up here, I keep my black cardstock. I have a container of vellum that I keep. I have my pre-cut A2 size card bases. And then back here, this is where I have it more labeled specifically. So I have my Accent 80 pound, my Bristol Smooth cardstock. I have my watercolor cardstock, and so on and so forth. And this particular container right here that holds my A2 size cardstock perfectly, I love that. And then I got this container, just picked it up at the Dollar Tree, and that holds my slimline cuts. So I have card bases already made, and then I have some blank sheets just here in the slimline size, and then I broke it down and did some actual die cutting. So it wasn't just my card bases and my card panels, but I actually went to the next step, die cut some different layouts and put them in here, right? So these are my border slims. I also keep, so I don't get confused, I keep cardstock, like Bristol Smooth cardstock right here labeled, and in its separate envelope as well. This way I know, because Bristol Smooth is not used for everything in my craft room. I use it primarily when I'm ink blending. So I keep it separate. So that is definitely what I recommend, is pre-cut your stuff so that when it comes time to card making, you are not having to fuss over getting your stuff out. And my last tip for you today is to use some of your products as actual decor in your space. I think that's one of the things that we can do if we have a space to display stuff. Why not? Why not pull it out and use the prettiness of the full set syndrome that you've had into your space, incorporate it in there, and then you'll be able to enjoy it as well as use it. So let me give you some examples of where I do this in my craft space. Okay, I bring you to Exhibit A. I have my pops of color up there, all organized and placed. Some of them are missing because they're on my craft desk right now. But I have that. I have cards that I display at the top. And then I also even have my markers in their original bag just sitting out in rainbow color. Love it. I moved down and I have my clear containers here that I can see the stuff inside. Likely it's going to be a rainbow because craft rooms, a lot of that stuff does come out rainbow-ish. And so I'm using that for part of my decor. Moving over to the other side of my desk, which is more about my personal development side of the house. However, I do have this top shelf with some craft items in there. And so what I did was picked up these containers from the Dollar Tree, and then I just add some of my craft items that I don't want to get rid of. If you saw that video, you know I purged down quite a bit, but I still have them. And I like to have my Biggs dies out on display in their container right there. And I just feel like it keeps it organized, keeps it nice, and adds a little bit of color and fun to the space. Another place I've done this is over here on my drawers from IKEA. I actually took out my Cricut and labeled stuff, so this way it made it a little bit more interesting and it was easier for me to grab and go. And that's not necessarily using products to add to my decor, but sprucing up your decor anywhere in your room is good. And then of course this printer is hideous, so on the side of it I have some really pretty trees that light up and some artwork my sister did, both of my sisters actually. So yeah, so just adding a little bit to your space really does make it come alive for you. It's inspiring, so I highly recommend that. All right, that's it for today's video. I hope this got your organizational creative juices flowing and you're able to kind of see your space in a different way. Also, don't forget to join us. That's going to be the Paper Crafters Organization Summit from the 21st of April to the 23rd of April. Get your free ticket. If you want to upgrade, get your paid ticket. Just get there because it's going to be great and you're going to learn so much, and I'm really looking forward to it because I'm only one of how many speakers and I cannot wait to sit in these classes. So let me know if you have any questions about that summit. Again, you can click those links below to get your name on the list. I will see you there, but before that, I will see you in the comments down below and in the next video. Bye-bye!